With the youth making up the largest share of the population in most African countries, experts say it's more urgent than ever to pave way for institutions that will enable them advance their abilities.
The first thing that we need to do, particularly for the youth, if you look at the youth that are under 25 or 30 years, many of them don't have skills. So skills is priority number one. Number two is skills. Number three is skills. Now, that means we must identify those areas where Africa is going to be seeing investments coming into the continent and start preparing those skills. At the continental level, we have already started having 5 universities in 5 regions which are going to focus on those kind of skills, whether it is space science, earth science, resources, science, mathematics, but importantly also having vocational. This is one major priority of the continent for us to bridge those gaps.
The African continent is endowed with vast natural resources, and energy is one key area that private sector players are focusing on to create more employment opportunities for young people.
It's a fundamental point in communities. It's lagging behind telecoms in terms of its distribution, but without energy you can't have an enterprise, education and so many other things. So that's the focus for it. But also energy is a major focus for entrepreneurs and for people, have a big interest in ensuring that there's energy development. Not all projects obviously are successful, but the idea is to try and make more of them successful.
During the forum, it also emerged that access to finance is a major challenge, and the population can take advantage of opportunities to raise capital through bourses.
Stock exchange have the opportunity to issue bonds, which many exchanges do, and the challenge now with this tremendous infrastructure spend that is needed for the African continent is to be able to set up instruments that can be invested in by the general public, and stock exchanges are the ideal place to raise that sort of funding.
Additionally, the Africa Union is working with other development institutions to create more funding mechanisms.
NIPAD's role is to, we have been trying to design a structure that they could put a fund in place to see if NIPAD could develop a fund or create the right atmosphere to create a fund. And now that we know that there are portfolios of millions of projects, millions of dollars requirement in projects, then it should be possible for NIPAD to take this forward to the next stage when we finish this program in 2014.
Also, experts call for more public-private partnerships within African states that will go a long way to ensure inclusive economic growth.
The first thing that you want between private sector and public sector is mutual trust, responsibility, creating an enabling environment for the private sector so that the two really are working in an harmonious way. But also looking at how the two can project that common vision, work together, because it is not private sector versus public sector or other actors. It is having that common partnership. This hasn't worked very well, and this is one of the things that we need really to change.
What we need in Africa, we need to be talking to the whole spectrum: government, business, civil society. And what happens too often at all these conferences is we just have representation from one sector or another, and we don't interact. Why do I say that we should interact? Because if we're going to open up the borders to people, to vehicles, to air traffic, get visas sorted out, it needs government, who are the facilitators, to understand the needs and to cooperate with other governments and understand what their people need in order to grow business on this continent.
Going forward, the AU has designed a transformational agenda that will build on the current progress in the continent and strategically exploit opportunities available in the long term so as to ensure positive socio-economic transformation.
We are breaking Agenda 2063 into 10-year plans. We are also breaking that further into 4-year plans so that each of the 4-year plans will do just that. where we hold each other mutual accountability. We have a monitoring and implementation mechanism, financing mechanism, and all that. We identify those gaps. So this is something that we want to do in a cooperative manner, but also having that platform that we can not just simply share ideas, but also implement them and hold each other mutually accountable.